During his transition into the Oval Office after being elected as president in 2008, Barack Obama's Change.gov website spelled out his agenda on the protection of whistleblowers. Here's what it said. Often the best source of information about waste, fraud, and abuse in government is an existing government employee committed to public integrity and willing to speak out. Such acts of courage and patriotism, which can sometimes save lives and often save taxpayer dollars, should be encouraged rather than stifled. My next guests were not encouraged when they tried to expose abuse in government. They got fired, treated as criminals. Thomas Drake is a former executive at the National Security Agency. He was charged under the Espionage Act after he blew the whistle on waste and illegal activity. Jesselyn Radack is a former ethics advisor to the Department of Justice. She's also a whistleblower. She's now the National Security and Human Rights Director at the Government Accountability Project, a leading whistleblower organization. Thanks, both of you, for being here. Thomas, let me start with you. When the news broke that the agency you used to work for, the NSA, was spying on its own citizens and collecting massive amounts of data, everything from our phone calls and photos that we take on our iPhones, everything, how surprised were you?
Not at all.
You were not surprised?
No. It's become routine. We now have a systemic, institutionalized surveillance system.
And so
on an industrial scale.
This massive collection of data, we're told, don't worry about it, nobody's actually looking at all that stuff. How confident are you that nobody is looking? Or let me ask you this, can they look at it if they just wanted to one day?
Yes, because they've collected it.
So it's collected, it's stored. If somebody wants to say, wonder what old Mike Huckabee's been Googling lately, they could find that out.
Extremely tempting to do so, especially when you have access to all that kind of information about everything about you in your entire life. And an index of your digital life.
And who can keep someone from going in and looking at those files?
Right now, there's no controls at all to speak of, because it's all in secret. And any of the controls they talk about are all in secret. They're not available for public review or debate.
Now, you blew the whistle on things you saw in the NSA that you thought were good. You were charged now with espionage. The president said that you should be a hero. You should be rewarded for that.
He said that in 2008 as a campaign platform. 4 years later, his campaign platform touted, boasted about the number of leakers, whistleblowers, and truth tellers he had gone after, more so than all other administrations combined.
How has it affected you? Obviously, you lost your job. What's it done to your career?
Turned it upside down, inside out.
How long were you with the NSA?
I was with the NSA from 2001. First day on the job was 9/11. I resigned in 2008.
And what economy? But for a guy that blew the whistle on the NSA that ought to be a hero, and the president said we ought to reward you, tell me your reward.
Persona non grata. You're blacklisted. You can't find a job in the government because they charge you with espionage.
Jesselyn, I want to ask you about your case. You advised the Justice Department in the John Walker Lynn American Taliban case. You thought his rights were being abused. Did that get you applause from your superiors?
It didn't get any reaction at first. They agreed with my analysis initially. Obviously, any American who's being subject to that is read their rights.
Let's make clear, Jesselyn, you had advised that because he had counsel, that any interrogation had to require that his counsel be present. I mean,
exactly.
I learned that in civics class in the 9th grade. So that's what you said. This guy has to, was his counsel present when he was interrogated?
No, I had advised that on Friday, and then I came in on Monday, and the criminal section told me, oops, the FBI interrogated him anyway, what should we do now? And at that point, I advised that the interrogation information needed to be sealed, and they were welcome to use it for national security and intelligence gathering, but not for criminal prosecution. Of course, they went ahead and used it for criminal prosecution.
So you objected to that, and what happened?
I inadvertently discovered that there was a court order for all Justice Department correspondence related to his interrogation. And when I went to check the file of all the emails I wrote, it had been purged.
So evidence, in essence. I mean, that would be evidence.
That
was
would be
destroyed.
Evidence. Yes, that would be evidence, and it had disappeared. I resurrected it from my computer archives, and I wrote a memo to my boss, and I attached it, and I said, I have no idea why this was not around. I took home I gave it to my boss. I resigned. I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to be a part of it. I took home a copy in case it disappeared again, which evidently it did.